Elimination Chamber 2020 on the road to WrestleMania. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by the Blueprint, the mayor of Longwood, Florida, Mr. Matt Morgan, fresh off his appearance on Fox and Friends this morning, making the big time. I popped for that. I was like, good Lord, that's a show I've heard of. National, baby.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, Glenn. As always, thank you. You're the man.
No, dude, it was a great appearance. I sent you that edited clip so people can check it out on your social media. Of course, man. So tonight, Elimination Chamber, mixed response from the crowd. I mean, Matt, overall, what did you think of this pay-per-view?
In the words of Raj Giri, it was there.
It could have been more. But that being said, for a completely inessential pay-per-view that mostly played out how we thought it would, I thought the matches were quite good.
Yeah, like the first match, like for instance, Daniel Bryan, his match was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Tucker and Otis got over in their tag match. Yeah, there was different things that happened on tonight's pay-per-view, but all in all, it was an okay show. I got to admit, if I didn't have to do this podcast, I don't think I would watch this one. I think I'd watch the women's, women. No, maybe not even the women's match, because we knew who was going to win.
And that is why I yelled out, "Holy shit," at the top of my lungs when Sami Zayn became the new Intercontinental Champion. I thought Braun Strowman had it in the bag, was barely paying attention. Could not believe it.
For sure. That was pretty crazy, I thought. Yeah, that's true.
And under circumstances we never would have predicted years ago on this podcast when we're saying, oh, Sami and the IC title seem like a perfect fit for each other. It's going to happen one day. Never thought it would happen like this in a match he hardly wrestled in. I don't even think he really wrestled in this match except to get the pin.
No, I mean, it's something. It gives him something to chase, which is weird.
Yeah,
when you think about it, to have a guy that size, it's like role reversal.
Yeah,
it's usually the small guy chasing the big, oversized bully heel at WrestleMania, and then he finally wins, the title. Not like the opposite.
Yeah. I think Braun's going to get it back at Mania. Pretty sure.
Yes.
Antoine Fair with the super chat saying the crowd brought this pay-per-view down. The pay-per-view was a solid B, but it felt like a C because the crowd gave it no energy after the tag chamber match. It's a little tough to bookend, I think, with those lengthy matches. And the Elimination Chamber is not the Royal Rumble. It's not Money in the Bank. I think it's probably the least exciting of the gimmick pay-per-views. Would you agree?
Right. I would. And yeah, I would. There's always that one opportunity for the one big high spot, right? Like we saw in the men's chamber match for the men's tag match, right? We saw Lindsay Dorado do his little gimmick off the top of the thing, but even that, I don't think I paid money to see it like I would the Rumble.
Wayne Montgomery with the super chat saying, "Hey Matt Morgan, great video of your story. Love you."
Thanks, Wayne. Love you too, bro. Thank you.
And I have to shout out the chat room a second. Michael Rouse on Facebook is saying, Glenn doesn't look at these comments. He only looks at YouTube. Oh no. With our fancy streaming software, your comments on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube are all displayed for me on the right-hand side of the screen. And we try and get to all of them. Obviously, super chats are highlighted. That's the main reason why it catches my attention. It's great when you give us it's great when you give Raj Giri money. But the highlighted color, I definitely catches my eye. But I'm always looking to the right to see what you all are saying. Matt1023 is saying, love the podcast. Been a wrestling fan for a while. Don't even watch it on TV anymore. I just watch you guys. You're amazing. Thank you, sir. Man,
that's the best. I love those comments.
And I would be remiss if not saying Ramon Odisho saying on our deathbeds, a lot of us will remember this pay-per-view and wish we had 4 more hours of life left.
That's good.
WWE should put that on the DVD release, just right there on the box.
That was really funny, though. That was good.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about the Viking Raiders versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder on the pre-show. Like, that was just there. Let's talk about Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Matt, what did you think of the match tonight?
I knew going into it I would like this. Because we knew we knew Daniel Bryan was gonna put his workers' boots on and get this dude over. I think he did as good of a job as he could. He gave Drew the entire effing match for crying out loud, and just pulled it together at the end, right? With the yes lock, right at the very, very end, the label lock, the very, very finish of it. So he literally gave that dude 90% of that match. Here's my question: do you think Drew made use of it in that? Besides, because when I go back and I watch it, I thought Drew did a good job. He wrestled a really good match. My question, though, is did he get himself over more tonight in this match? Did he take the 90% that Daniel Bryan gave him in this match, and did he become more over? That's my question to you.
So Daniel Bryan did the arm out, the show of respect at the end, saying, "Hey, crowd, how about this guy?" Matt, how many times have you done that on a match that you won where you were like, "Now give it up for my opponent, everybody"?
As a babyface, yeah, I have, just maybe not on a TV match and stuff like that, but little, crap indie shots or something like
you
that
wrestle
with
a
the
kid that's an
local
up-and-comer.
champion or whatever.
Yeah.
Or yeah. But it's the right thing to do, right? When you're trying to get it's baby, or this wasn't baby though. So it really was a good visual, and it says this dude has my stamp of approval. You guys should approve of him too. So my question with all that though is, do you feel that Drew is now a bigger star though?
It entirely depends on what they do. So Brian Almeida in the comments is saying Gulak raised his stock for sure. It felt like a reset of his character as a master wrestler, not a comedy guy. That being said, let me bounce this off you, Matt. If Drew had come to the ring, and remember, this match happened because Drew was saying, "I know all Daniel Bryan's weaknesses." He's like, "I've got the data points. I've got the skill set." If they would have let him open with his gimmick a little more, and if at the end Daniel Bryan would have said, "You know what? I beat you tonight, but you pushed me in my limit. You know me inside and out. You're the smartest guy in the ring. What do you say? You and I team up and use your brain and our technical abilities and run through this roster." I feel like they could have given the storyline a little bit of a jump off point to where they go from here, because right now this was just a great exhibition between two guys that respect each other. I don't know that Drew's going to have momentum aside from the wrestling nerds that just love the technical prowess of this match.
Yeah, and there's something there that I don't know what I felt was missing, because I love the match. Drew, the cool story in this match was Drew lived up to his word. He did take apart all of his weaknesses. If you will go back and watch the match, he did like a bunch of different reversals to continue to go back to working Daniel Bryan's bad neck and injured neck. And commentary did an outstanding job, I thought, of getting that over as well. Daniel Bryan looked like he was really in peril in this match.
Yeah.
Which is excellent. So it's up to WWE to follow through now.
I almost thought they were going to give Daniel some time off, but they wouldn't do that right before WrestleMania. So maybe we'll see. Okay, so wait. So Keith Robbins is saying Daniel Bryan did say that in the post interview. So it's good if they pair them up and do more with them together. But I thought tonight with referee
Is that
stoppage.
what he said?
I didn't see that. Was that on the pay-per-view or was that on YouTube? And I apologize.
I missed it. I was about to say the same thing. I apologize. I didn't see that. Huh.
Now, granted, many people had WWE stream issues tonight. It wasn't too bad for me, but at one point I did have to go back and start it again to skip and get to where I needed to be. That being said, this was a great match. If Sami Zayn hadn't won the title tonight, this may have been the high point just on the pure level of like, oh my God, Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan are opening a pay-per-view. But they went from that. What did you think of Andrade with Zelina Vega versus Humberto Carrillo for the U.S. Championship, and Andrade retaining via pinfall with a roll-up and grabbing the tights.
I did not see that comment. I thought for sure this was pointing towards a title switch here, especially with the trouble Andrade's been in.
Yes. Chris Jones is asking, is there any significance to the checkerboard background? Yes. Sami Zayn winning the title. Sami's original gear, the ska and the two-tone. I was like, if tonight there was the night to go with the checkerboard.
There you go.
Tribute. I try and come up with like topical things. A lot of the time I feel like, I just have the backgrounds I like, but I like something a little topical with it. This was a good match. I don't know though that Andrade winning. I mean, I feel like Humberto, if they're going to take him to the next level, the U.S. title would have been a good way to do it. But clearly, to your point, Matt, they're not punishing Andrade by stripping the belt off of him at this point.
No, apparently not.
And I mean, I almost don't want to talk about this too much because I would bet money we're going to see a rematch of this tomorrow night, or these two guys mixing it up, teaming with Ray and Angel.
I gotta just throw somebody completely non-luchador in the middle of the summer. They gotta break this up. I hate when they keep doing it. Don't get me wrong; these talents are both awesome, and there's a natural storyline to it. To be fair, there is. But it's like we keep. I just hate when they keep pigeonholing them. We could be watching some really cool mixes and mix and mesh or whatever the word is of different styles and talents like they usually do. But they're not doing that now. They're throwing everybody who's a luchador. I accept Lucha House Party, who was in that tag match tonight, which was good. Do the same stuff. So I don't know.
They gotta get Lawler off the commentary for.
Oh my god!
For these, I was reading on Twitter's. I mean, just the things he says like this. Like I would keep him away from this in the women's matches just to be safe. Like anything where he turns into like your drunk uncle, just getting a little too loose with his comparisons. We've all had that family gathering where you have to be like, oh, he's old, he's set in his ways. He's really not a bad guy.
He really doesn't mean it. He has no idea what he's really saying. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Times have changed. Yes. He hasn't. Not a good look for a commentary. Anyhow,
he's getting close. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do.
Tag team elimination chamber match for the SmackDown tag team titles: The Miz and John Morrison versus the New Day versus the Usos versus Heavy Machinery versus Lucha House Party versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. We had Miz and Morrison retaining here tonight, but we got some story with Heavy Machinery and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. We got some good spots off the top of the chamber. What did you like about this match?
I don't like the way Otis says Tucker. I've had enough. I don't like it. That's not what I should have taken from this match, but Otis continues to get more over. Tucker had a really cool spot in tonight's match, and he did a good job. I don't know if obviously you remember, everybody remembers, when Otis went flying through the chamber. He went through the front end and the back end and just like a gunshot, and he was knocked out for the rest of the match. And the great slow burn on his partner Tucker's face when he turns around and slowly points at what's his name, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
And his body language, slowly stepping back into the ring, and then just losing it on both Bobby Roode and Ziggler, was very well done. And the crowd popped huge for Tucker in this moment finally. Tucker's always been the leftover guy. He's the guy nobody really's been reacting to because Otis is so damn over. Tonight they reacted to him. Granted, it was because of Otis. But my point is, I thought Tucker did a good job there of getting himself over. And the fans came with him on that explosion, which was really well done. He didn't miss his opportunity. I was really happy for him. And then I wanted to see Miz and Morrison hold on. So I was happy for that, but I think there was a lot of cool matchups here where they showed, wow, this match would be cool if this was just a clean tag match between two teams. I thought so for the Usos and Miz and Morrison for a minute there.
Yeah.
I thought that would be cool. I don't know. I think the tag division is pretty decent, actually.
It is. I mean, look, you can't go wrong when you got the New Day and the Usos involved in any match. Lucha House Party, every team brought it tonight. I feel like as far as a multi-tag team match, this was good. There was a lot going on, but I feel like I have to point out, I don't know if you saw Miz and Morrison on the pre-show, the little promo they did.
No.
I mean, what do you make of it? You're in the Elimination Chamber match. You're the champions. This is a championship match. And what's the hottest storyline? Heavy Machinery and Rude and Ziggler.
It is.
You know, that's got to be tough.
It's really got to be tough for Morrison, and both guys, Miz and Morrison, because here you had Miz, who's been a perennial off and on. Well, that's not the same thing as perennial. He's been an off and on main eventer, right? And he's really upped his stock since Morrison has left the company. Then Morrison comes back. They go back to tagging. And here's Morrison, not coming back as a single star, but be put together as a tag team. And this is the best you have. I just don't think this is the best use overall for what you could be doing with Morrison, in my opinion. But no, I do like seeing him tag with Miz, but he definitely does, right?
No, they're both singles acts, and they come across like sidekicks when they're together. To that point, Matt, I have to put this out there. I almost think Morrison, and no disrespect to Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, I think Morrison would have been better in the Ziggler role in the Heavy Machinery thing with Mandy. I think that would have at least put them front and center. We've got a title on the line. We've got a girl on the line.
Okay. I didn't think of that. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe on paper, if I'm Morrison, I'm like, dude, I want nothing to do with this storyline. But then again, you can't always just look at it on paper, because look what this has turned into. I think it could be ridiculous at times, that storyline.
Absolutely.
But you can't argue it's gotten this dude Otis crazy over.
Yeah. Dr. Xyler Spree. I'm going to massacre this. Saying worst pay-per-view ever for me, and I was there live. Plus, Gulak is from Philly. That's probably why it's such a high spot tonight.
Yeah,
the crowd energy was something. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, I'm sure, as the news stories develops. This has got to be a weird time to go to large gatherings of people, just given everything you're hearing on the news. And I don't care, how much you believe or don't believe. Like, I think that something's got to be really good to take your mind off all the troubles in the world. And I think that's why people go to these things, right?
I think that's what you look to do, right? Right after 9/11, WWE was the first, right? One day, the first sports or whatever type of show to run a live event, right? I could have sworn we did. But that's what these shows are supposed to be, do. Get your mind off it. And by the way, have they canceled Mania yet? Do we know? Have they said anything?
No. There's been no cancellations. We do have a confirmed news story that WWE NXT meet and greets are now no touching between fans and the talent. And if you saw the photos of Sasha Banks yesterday at her signing, she was holding up the legit boss rings, and you could see she had blue gloves underneath in all the photos with fans. So it's on their radar. I mean, it's on everyone's radar, right? I mean, you're the mayor of a city.
Right.
There's no one, as a business owner, I'm thinking about this, and, the economic ramifications, the safety ramifications, it's on everyone's mind. So, we'll see tomorrow. We'll see what happens with WWE. But I think that these next 2 weeks, and I'm sure you're thinking the same thing, these next 2 weeks are going to be critical just to figure out what the actual situation is that we're facing.
Yeah. Yes. Seriously, I think you're right. I just, it's crazy though that a fan was at tonight's show and still said it's the worst pay-per-view. Because usually, fans, you gotta admit, when we go to a show live, least you get the energy, the excitement, the music, the loudness of the show, the excitement, the thrill, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you usually could take a C show and turn it into maybe a B- show if you were there live. But that's awesome. He still said it's the worst show he's seen all year.
Justin Lopez with the super chat asking, does Ziggler versus Otis make the main card at Mania? I mean, it has to.
I have a hard time answering that because, right, it's important. It feels like they've made it important enough too, sadly enough. And I shouldn't even say sadly enough because the dude's getting over from it. Otis is getting over from this, right? He is. He's getting tons of sympathy. So who am I to judge that then, right? It might not be my cup of tea. The stuff I like seeing once he's in the ring and they're doing their stuff. But all their shenanigans, I really don't care for. But again, it's working. He's getting over. Therefore, it should be in the Mania card.
Tammy saying the main card is like 6 hours. Of course, it makes it. I think there'll be a tag match. It's just a question of will it just be Rude and Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery, or will there be others involved? But yeah, I think it's going to be better than the pre-show. Yeah. So with this, this came down to the Usos and Miz and Morrison with them pinning Jay with Miz's feet on the ropes. This was no DQ, so we got the 1, 2, 3 there. Miz and Morrison retained.
I love that they called that too, by the way, that the announce team called that this is legal. And they had Morrison roll over into a jackknife pinning predicament while Miz had his feet on the ropes pinning him from the other side. It was really well done. It protects the Usos, and it protects the Usos versus Miz and Morrison still.
Yeah.
They didn't give away a clean finish to them, which is good.
AJ Styles with Gallows and Anderson versus Aleister Black in a no DQ match with a cameo appearance by The Undertaker tonight.
Did you really think you'd see him tonight?
Yeah, I guess. And didn't we talk about this? It's like this was how they let Aleister beat AJ. Because if Aleister would have lost tonight, it's game over, man. At this point, for him to keep getting this push, and he needed the win. I think that Taker provides cover for that distraction with Taker choking out Gallows and Anderson. Styles trying for the phenomenal forearm, getting caught by Taker, hit with a choke slam. Yeah, I think this worked. This was a good match up until then. It's just, man.
Yeah.
Following Matt, I mean, back when you were in WWE, there was no such thing as following the Elimination Chamber match, right? Didn't that main event every pay-per-view was on until we started having 2 of them?
I believe it did. Yes.
I mean, could you imagine having to go out there and do a singles match and follow the Royal Rumble match? Like, the Women's Rumble went, and now I'm the match after. Yay. Crowd's going to be really excited. Lots of energy left.
No, you're right. It'd be very difficult.
Yeah. So this was good, but I think Aleister needs to get in a real meaningful feud. I'm assuming tomorrow AJ versus Taker is the trajectory they're going to be on for Mania. And with Aleister, who knows? We had to just
this was a great match, though, I thought, between AJ and Aleister. Until then, what I think happened is they had Aleister. I don't know how long they had it penned in that Undertaker would be taking on AJ Styles at Mania.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it feels like they couldn't have possibly had it for a very long time, and that they had the eventual pinnacle of what's his name's push, Aleister's push. You could tell, in my opinion, was always to go in there against AJ eventually and beat AJ as well, in an off-brand pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? But then they felt like they changed things and they put AJ against Taker out there, and then once they did that, this is just like the way they had to book it. It's what it feels like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think we'll see how the build is, but this is going to be a major match. I mean, you Taker for AJ.
Yes.
This is
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really
It's gonna
good.
be really good. It's gonna, yeah.
And the Street Profits tonight retained over Rollins and Murphy. And again, with the interference to keep the losing team looking strong, we had Kevin Owens with popcorn throwing it at Seth Rollins. And I don't know, Matt, did you think it was silly at the end that there's Seth like pouting and huffing and like angrily kicking popcorn up the ramp after like Kevin threw it all on him?
Yeah. Yes, very cartoony, but you do what is out there for you to take advantage of and use if you have to, right? It's just what we're taught to do, to react on the fly. But I really thought Street Profits would drop them and then go into Mania to recapture them. But they ended up doing the same storyline that I thought would happen here with the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. I think this was really big on these weird finishes tonight.
Yeah.
Not a lot of clean stuff. I don't know.
Sure.
Oh, man. So, good match, though. Street Profits still majorly over.
Majorly.
Yeah. After that match, we went to Braun Strowman in his handicap match versus Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Sami Zayn doing like a Benny Hill, just running under the ring, hiding, staying out of this. Finally getting a cheap shot, like running around the ring. It was an interesting way to keep him, I guess, for anything that could have caused injury. But Strowman charging Cesaro, missing the ring post. Nakamura hit his finisher. Then finally the haluva kick after a double suplex, and Sami got the cover to win this. I mean, I'm really happy for Sami Zayn. This is years overdue. But I have to say, the expense of Braun, I know Braun's going to get this back in Mania. Maybe he'll even get it back Friday on SmackDown. But what does this say to you, Matt, about Vince's logic that Braun Strowman is the complete package, right? On every level. Sami Zayn, at one point, I would argue, was in the top 3 most gifted technical wrestlers in the company, the ultimate babyface, the ultimate underdog. And now here we are, Braun finally has a title, but Sami's heel antics makes Vince giggle and decided, you know what, let's put the belt on him. It'll be hilarious.
Let that be a lesson to fans out there. And you fans have heard this. I'm not the first person saying it to you. And you've at least read this out there, fans, if you've not heard it from other show hosts over the years. Whatever rhyme or reason that Vince all of a sudden out of left field, notice somebody on the roster that has been there, could be there for years, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was there at a left field, dude, he started really like being into Nunzio. Just dude, completely out of left field. He started like really wanting to book Nunzio in like singles matches. No more FBI, just him by himself. Giving him a little bit, giving him some wins and stuff. He really started to feel that character, and it's like, dude, he's been here forever. Like, why now? You know what I mean? It's just how he is. Whatever, out of the bed he wakes up on, nobody can predict. And that's a good, and to be honest, that's a really good lesson motivator maybe for some of the talents out there. Like my boy Zack Ryder, he is so damn talented. He looks like $1 million. He has the fans into all of his matches. And Dolph Ziggler to a degree as well. Just keep doing your thing, because you never know when Vince will wake up with this hair on, with this wild hair on his ass. That today's the day he's gonna push you. You never know.
It could happen to anyone. It's frustrating for Braun, though. What's that?
Yes, it is. I say, except Matt Morgan. No, but with Braun, what bothers me about that is I hope he's not letting himself. Well, you do what you're told. Number one, as a wrestler, if they say jump, you say how high. Is the way I was trained. I don't know how they train the guys now, but I imagine it's somewhat similar. So but I do just hope Braun's not quote unquote accepting this as his mania moment. When in my opinion, he deserves a lot more for his mania moment than being capturing the IC title. He's bigger than that, man. And
Yeah.
I think he's been long overdue for the world title mania moment. It just doesn't fit right now, but I do think, they like he should not look for anything less than that.
Well, last year at Mania, he was in an angle with the guys from Weekend Update on SNL. The year before that, he won the tag team titles with a 9-year-old. So,
Nicholas.
yeah, so maybe this
Yeah.
at least being a legitimate match is a step up.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see that's still, not just because they screwed up other things or did weird things with him in the past. Should this make this okay? This dude is beyond past the IC title, man.
I agree, but, well, yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that. I mean, him versus Goldberg would have been awesome. Him versus Roman, maybe they could pull the trigger on that again. But Braun's too much of a baby face with the crowd now. So I don't think if Roman wins the championship off Goldberg, you can put Braun in that position, given the way the crowd currently reacts to him.
Yeah, it's a shame Taker couldn't. I don't think Taker could take a match versus Braun, like a physical match, right? That it would take to wrestle Braun. But yeah,
we shall see. Let's talk about this main event women's Elimination Chamber match. Natalya versus Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler versus Asuka versus Ruby Riott versus Sarah Logan. So we got a little of what we thought we were going to get with the Riott Squad, right? Mixing it up a little bit. We had Liv and Natalya trying their best to make it seem credible that they had a chance of winning this. We had Asuka going freaking crazy. I think everybody waiting for her entrance because we knew her versus Shayna had the most potential, especially given the way that they just punked out Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, and Liv with this, Natalya to a lesser extent.
Yes.
But Shayna versus Asuka was very cool, but not I think they still are saving it where they could do a match with these two, but pretty quickly in. Asuka got some offense in, but no, I mean, Shayna got the clutch in, Asuka faded, and the referee called for the bell. So we all knew Shayna was winning this tonight. Was there anything about this match that surprised or, dare I ask, delighted you?
Delighted, nice word. I don't know why that word tickled me, as you would say. I still think there's a lot of money left on the table with Asuka and Shayna. Which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing, right? More box office women's matches that they have, the better. Obviously, you don't want to quote unquote blow your load at Mania. They have nothing to fall back on. I thought this was good.
It was a good match. I just think the predictable ending, there wasn't enough.
Super predictable.
Yeah, and if this was about Shayna looking dominant, it absolutely succeeded. But unlike the tag team match, they didn't really let the other stories breathe. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Riott Squad thing ends up as a triple threat on Raw, just almost like a little filler mid-show match.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the last we see of it.
Yes, that will not make Mania.
Yeah. Won't even make the pre-show a Mania.
And that's none of their fault. That's the company's fault for not making them feel like a big enough deal that the three of them are on their own way, kind of a deal, right?
Yeah.
That they're all on their own and play some histrionics, how they all three were together. Like, to say it on commentary is one thing, but to run enough video packages before, like, what's her name comes back? Morgan came back. Before, unfortunately, she had to get a whole lot on her with the damn Lana Rusev storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still holding out for a good Liv Morgan storyline.
I'm holding out for more female storylines, period, at this point. It really feels insulting is the wrong word. Just like they've just dropped the ball almost completely, and especially in Mania
Which is
season
weird
highlights
because
it.
think about it. NXT is a lesser, is not as long of a show. You do a much
Yeah.
better job on NXT establishing those storylines for all those women.
Well, we're gonna have 3 women's matches in Mania of consequence. I mean, we'll have something with the SmackDown titles. We'll have something with the Raw Women's title. We'll have something with the NXT Women's title. We'll have the Women's Battle Royal on the pre-show. And aside from that, I don't know if the tag titles are going to be defended. I feel like Asuka and Kari really need to get put into a situation quickly if they're going to have a storyline that means anything.
Wouldn't you bring up like 2 NXT girls to do that? Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Or to go against those 2.
Tammy's saying they should have given the chamber match to the SmackDown women tonight for the shot to face Bayley, and they could have had Shayna just beat all these women weekly on Raw.
Oh my God, Tammy, 1000%. I cannot agree anymore with that.
Yeah,
and they have plenty of girls. They have plenty of women on that brand that we would want to see in the damn chamber, especially Lacey. In my opinion.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay, Matt? My video looks frozen to me.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. It is frozen, but I hear you just fine, brother.
Okay. Here, let me try just stopping and restarting. I'll be... Nope. I'm gonna...
You hate that it's frozen like that, don't
I hate that it's frozen like that so much. Oh, that's the worst. Good. I mean, it's a good thing we're at the end of the pay-per-view and there's not more to talk about with this.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. DJ Navarrete with the super chat saying, how do you feel about spending your $50 on AEW Revolution versus Elimination Chamber and other B-level pay-per-views? I would have felt ripped off if I would have spent $20 on this tonight.
No question. And you know what? Not one time during that AEW pay-per-view did I question whether is it a bad move to spend $50 on. Not once.
It did feel much more solid, start to finish.
I felt like I got more than my money's worth, which is a rarity when you spend $50 on a pay-per-view.
Ryan McCabe saying Alexa Bliss has been calling out Asuka on social media and TV. I think there's an angle for the tag team titles in Mania. That could be good, but do you really see Alexa and Nikki beating Asuka and Kari?
Just for a BS babyface feel-good moment on WrestleMania, right? I could, but I don't think it's going to be intriguing. They've been tag team champions before. There's nothing new for me there happening. And I still think, you know what's so funny? What's her name? Bliss, I feel, is kind of like John Morrison here. She's bigger than being in a tag team. She's a singles act, dude, and a dominant, I'll say it, dominant heel singles act.
There we go. That fixed it. Yeah, I think, oh, thank God that got fixed. If I just had to look at myself in that pose for another second. But no, I think your point's right. But if that happens, like Kari is gone from the company if she hasn't re-signed her contract, and Asuka, they got to get her in a singles program ASAP if that's how it goes, because I think there's so much. We saw it tonight. Asuka and Shayna was what everyone was anticipating tonight. No one gives a shit about Shayna beating up Ruby Riott. No offense to Ruby Riott, but we were waiting, like Shayna versus Asuka. So maybe that's what happens. Maybe we sideline, and if it's true that Becky is taking some time off after Mania, which again is just a rumor, but maybe if Shayna wins the Raw title, then we do Shayna versus Asuka after, and if they're no longer tag team champs, maybe it makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
But that being said, look, there's not a lot more to say about tonight's show. I mean, there's really not.
No, it wasn't. I didn't like it. I think tonight's show was very good.
Yes, and my apologies to Just Incredible in the chat saying we didn't call up the super chat. So just so people understand how the super chat works, let me just lay it out. Like, after a while, things scroll off. I try and get any super chats on screen. I, again, greatly appreciate that you're lining Raj Giri's pockets with that. But sometimes I will hold something, and then by the time I go to get to it, it's gone. So I apologize if that's the case. I always try and get those on screen. Speaking of Raj, Matt, I sent you the clip of Raj Giri on Ryback's podcast, where it's this last Monday's
you
episode.
are the best.
Ryback starts off with, so Raj, let me ask you a question. What's up with this Rajback shit?
I lost it. I kept rewinding it and editing it over and over again. My wife's like, I don't understand. We're on our way to the gym when you sent that. And I kept rewinding it over and over my car stereo because it was attached to my phone when you sent it. It's a huge pop here. I love every bit of that. I love every bit of poor Raj having to sit there like, oh, these guys are funny when I'm not on the podcast, even though I'm not supposed to be on Fridays. And
you can hear him blushing. You can hear how embarrassed and awkward he is.
Yes. I could feel the red face going on, him just being embarrassed in that moment.
His voice goes up 2 octaves. And I like that Ryback is like, so is there heat with this? And they're like, oh, no, it's all just a good-natured joke.
He's like, yes, yeah. I loved it. I thought it was so well. I know it was gonna be that funny, but I died laughing. I thought you were exaggerating.
Oh no!
When I heard it, I was like, oh, this is gold.
It's something, man. So Matt, I know you're tired. I know this was an exhausting pay-per-view. I feel like we've got a lot of people in the chat here. Is there anything else we want to cover or talk about before we come back here in 24 hours to talk about Raw?
Sure. Let me ask you, all right, really quick. Are you looking to anything? Are you looking forward to anything tomorrow night on Raw?
Shayna versus Becky, I think now they can really go full throttle on this, and we're gonna get the next 3 weeks. Like now they're in a weird position where Becky has to stop with the jokes and the memes, and we need to see badass Becky again to believe that she's gonna bring her A game for Shayna, and it's not gonna be a Rocky 3 situation.
Yes, she's got to take her serious now. I agree with that. I'm also looking forward to AJ Undertaker storyline progression.
There'll be some good stuff.
Looking forward to that the most.
Yeah, and I think that'll be good. Those promos are going to be interesting.
They are, and again, I repeat, AJ was considered a throwaway for promos when he was at TNA. They just didn't think that he had the ability to cut promos, especially because of his southern accent, I remember, which is such a stupid thing to say and think. Oh, Brian Almeida from the chat room says Edge is back tomorrow. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Stone Cold, because Stone Cold's on next week on 3/16 on March 16th. So a week from tomorrow, Stone Cold is going to be on Raw. But they're already promoting that heavily. Tammy's question, cool. Who beats Ricochet tomorrow?
All right, so Tammy's the MVP of the chat room tonight. She's been killing it tonight. This one's funny. God, who does it? The friggin' popcorn vendor, the soda salesman, the dude in the front row, you, Tammy?
Yeah.
Literally anybody.
It's possible.
Anybody.
We'll see.
So hey, really quick.
Yeah.
I was listening to highlights of another podcast because I was trying to figure out what the hell am I missing here about Ricochet. And if you guys remember, I said that some of this with Ricochet could be backstage heat. He has to have heat somewhere. There's no explanation. I can't figure out any explanation of why they would just start burying this guy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It has to be something. It has to be something. We're stupid world of the bubble world of pro wrestling in which you can get heat for, not shaking somebody's hand 55 times,
Well, now you got to cover, at least in the current environment. You could be like, hey, man, elbows.
Oh, my God. That's a good, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Yeah, no. I wonder what the new guys are doing right now. That are just showing up to Raw tomorrow to be enhancement talent, right? And extras. And they go to shake people's hand like, dude, no, we're not doing that right now.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see, man. I think it's going to be good. for Ricochet if he can get his career back on track. But you know what I'm tired of seeing? I don't know, like when you want to open up Google, like it suggests headlines for you. But I feel like every week there's a headline of some, and it's not Wrestling Inc., but it's some site speculating, like, rumor has it Vince has given up on this WWE superstar. And then you read it and it's like, okay, yeah, we watch the same show as you guys. We can guess that too based on the booking. That's not an article. I like that Wrestling Inc. doesn't do that shit.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't actually, and it doesn't actually say their proof as to where they're getting this from, other than, well, Ricochet lost to this today, so this is surely a sign that, well, dude, you're just making like an assumption like the rest of us can make. You don't actually have that detail.
Mark is asking, what about Spencer for Hire? I watched Mark Wahlberg's Spencer movie last night, which started off crappy and then got okay. But I have to say, it's not the best movie Mark Wahlberg has ever made, but it is the most Mark Wahlberg movie ever made. Like, if you just want all the tropes. And then we went and watched the first episode of Spencer for Hire back from the 80s. Oh my God, is that a grown-up show? Night and day difference. Felt very boring, very noirish. And then finally, last night, and I have to shout this out because I had a bias against this movie because of the name, we finally watched 2006's Running Scared with Paul Walker, which I always refused to watch because I love the movie Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines from the 80s, where they play cops in Chicago.
Oh my God.
One of the funniest buddy cop movies ever. But I've been hearing forever Running Scared with Paul Walker is like this crazy, dark, messed up movie that's really good. And I watched it. Yes, it is all of those things. It is exceptionally dark, really messed up, but it was a really good movie. So I'm bummed I slept on it so long.
I'll check it out then.
Yeah, definitely one not to watch with children around, and you might even want to give the wife sort of a warning. And do you ever do that before you put stuff on? Like, I go to IMDb just to look at the parents' guide because I want to know what I'm in for sometimes.
Yes.
And with this one, it's just like, I felt like we had to talk about this before we watched it. Like, is this going to like ruin our night? But it was a really good movie.
You know what? Maybe I should start doing more of that, because that happens sometimes. Even with like scary movies, they end up being a lot more scarier than what I would think going into it. My wife hates scary movies.
Yeah.
And like It, for instance.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
I did not give her enough warning about it. I didn't.
There's different things. And I mean, it's like, what are you in the mood for? When you just say a thriller or a horror movie, that can mean 20 different things.
Yes, totally.
You know, but no, I'm with you, dude.
I thought she'd rack it up to like Freddy Krueger scary kind of thing, and then they'd call it a day. But it was really, it's the new It is pretty damn good, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but even that, like, okay, so this is where I'm a little bit of a wuss. Only when theaters. At home, I can deal with being scared. I just don't like being in a dark theater, and like I don't like the loud jump scares. So before I see something that's supposed to be quote unquote really scary in a theater, I'll read the synopsis and know, like, okay, when this happens, like, don't be alarmed. Like, you know that it's coming. You know that there's going to be a freak out moment. Like, I do that now, but at home, I'm fine. I can watch anything at home.
So even though in the theater where there's, hundreds of other people there in the theater, or 100 other people in there with you, see, to me, that's not as scary. I'll tell you what's scary. Yeah. I'll tell you this right now. If you're watching a horror movie in the theater, is when you got to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And everything is blank in the hallway. There's nobody in the hallways, and there's nobody working, and it's like past midnight. Then that's scary.
Brian Almeida is saying, show your wife Hereditary. That movie freaked me out. There weren't even jump scares really so much in that, but that was a creepy ass movie, the likes of which I have rarely seen.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, read the synopsis on that first, though, again, for trigger warnings and stuff, because I think a parent might have a different reaction than I had to that film. But yeah, dude, horror movies comes in so many different varieties now. It's impossible to really know what you're getting into. But I loved the new version of it. I thought it was so well done, and not hokey like the one in the 80s.
No, it was really well done. That dude is pretty scary looking.
No, absolutely. Okay, well, I think that covers it for tonight. We're going to be back here tomorrow to talk about Raw. Until next time, folks, he's at BP Matt Morgan. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. Have a great night. We'll catch you back here tomorrow.